And welcome back, everyone, to Overtime. As we mentioned earlier, we have a special guest with us. So honored to have a very distinguished guest, I might add, and a name quite familiar in these Delta circles. We're talking about none other than Willie "Satellite" Totten. Thank you so much, Coach Totten, for taking time out. Valley great, Hall of Famer of the Delta Devils, Hall of Famer, college football, and I was saying a little earlier, we have all these satellites here at our station, but there's only one true satellite right here, Willie Totten. We thank you and appreciate you taking time out to go through a trip down memory lane for you, and as well as look ahead to what's coming up for Coach Totten in terms of his next step that he's about to embark on this upcoming football season. Coach, let's start off by going back to your days in Carrollton, right there at J.Z. George is where you, I guess, would have to say were introduced to the game of football. How did that all come into play as far as your love for football and how you got started playing this game?
Well, first, I'd like to say thanks for having me on the show. I tell you, Stephen, it started, it was kind of simple, though. You know, growing up in Greenwood, and we moved to Carrollton, and when I was in the 5th grade, and you know, during recess, you know, you're always out playing football, and I was bigger than most of the guys in my class, so I started out as a running back, and my brother Roger used to always be the quarterback, but I could still throw the football. I could throw the ball, you know, farther than he could. So one day when we in Carrollton, when I was in the 7th grade. We were just out on the field, playing around on the field, and the junior high coach saw us out there just playing around, and he saw how far I could throw the football, and he said he walked up to me and asked me, did I have ever played football before? I told him no more than just sandlot football. So he introduced me, Coach Wishaw, up in Carrollton. He introduced me to the game, really just organized football, and it kind of started that way, and had no idea. I thought I was going to be a fullback, but ended up being a quarterback because I could throw the ball far.
So you go to Mississippi Valley State. You enter with some guy by the name of Jerry Rice. You both are freshmen. I know you said you redshirted that freshman year. He got a chance to play. But you guys come in together. You and Jerry, you got the gunslinger. I don't think he was called the gunslinger then.
No, not at the time.
Okay.
No.
So how did we get to these numbers, 59 points a game, 50 NCAA passing records broken while you were there? Take me back to when you maybe met Jerry, and were you guys already thinking and say, hey, we're going to put up some numbers, or did it kind of just evolve over time?
Well, I think when we first got to Valley in '81, Jerry and I, we were there as a freshman together, and that year Coach brought in 30 guys. And I remember first day we got on the campus, and you know, for me being from Carrollton, small high school, and to go to a big school, a big college like Mississippi Valley, that was a big deal. So, you know, we were all excited. I remember going to the dormitory, and you know, you pull up to the dorm and you look at the dorm and say, oh, wow, this is where I'm going to be staying. And I remember we all stand out in front of the dorm excited, you know, our freshmen trying to learn the area. And I remember Jerry and we were all standing out in front of the dorm, Willie Ware and a lot of more other guys standing there. And I remember Jerry brought out a football. You know, we freshmen. I had football wasn't on my mind. It was learning the campus and trying to get adjusted. And I remember Jerry brought a football out, and he said, "You a quarterback?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm the quarterback." And there was a bunch of us standing out. We just started throwing the football, and Jerry was throwing it, and we just kind of got. That's how we really just met out in front of the dormitories, just throwing the football, and then things just kind of took off from there.
Well, I tell you what, Coach Totten, we're going to take our first break with this interview part of Overtime, but when we return, we're going to talk about life after Valley for you, because you went on to play as a professional, and also about life after your playing days because you've transitioned to coaching. So we're going to talk about that and much more with the real satellite here at the Delta News, Willie Totten. We'll be right back after this short break. But Coach Totten, we were talking during the break in terms of what happened back in the 80s at Mississippi Valley State. Sometimes history is often kind of forgotten over time, but that has not happened at all when you're talking about the glory days of Valley State when you were quarterback. And you said now it seemed like people are talking about it more so than they did years ago. In what way has this, what you guys did, has still been on the conscience of people's minds today?
Well, I think just the impact, the impact that if you can recruit and you can have 5 receivers that can play, you can have the offensive line. Now is almost that you can go out and find 5 wide receivers that run in a 4-2, run a 4-3. And if you put those type of guys on the field, it's hard to stop. What we did back in the day, people are more talking about it now, I think, because everybody is doing it. And they just can't believe how we did it back then when no one was doing it.
Yeah. Do you consider yourself a pioneer?
I like to think myself as a person who helped shape the game. If that considered as a pioneer, you know, I don't look at it that way. I look at it at the time that we did something that no one was doing at the time, and we did it having fun.
And I know too, Coach, that after your playing days were over at Itabena, you matriculate now into the pros. Take me through the journey of places that you played, because I know it started out, if I'm not mistaken, in the CFL, right?
It did, but before I get to that point, Stephen, it was a dark time for me early, deciding what I wanted to do. You know, to be one of the top quarterbacks in the nation coming out. I didn't get a chance to get drafted, and so now I was wondering what I was going to do. I did get an opportunity to play in the Canadian Football League. I was drafted in the territorial draft in the Canadian League with BC in Vancouver. I had an opportunity to play something.
You touched on something that I'm sure a lot of people may even wonder. You throw all these touchdown passes to Jerry Rice. He goes to the league first round by the 49ers. Was there any self-pity when you look back at that time? You said it was a dark moment, but did you ever question, like, why am I not getting this opportunity? Yes, Jerry, he was the one that caught the passes, ran for the touchdowns, but I was the one that threw it. So I feel like I should have the same opportunity that he had. Did you ever wrestle with any of those thoughts as a young 22-year-old plus at the time?
Oh, yeah. You know I did. I mean, you know, my junior year, when we had the breakout year, everybody was telling me I should have came out my junior year. And Jerry came out his senior year, which I did have some talk to some NFL scouts, but I felt that I talked to Coach Cooley, and Coach Cooley felt that I needed to come back for another year, and I did. And not to get the true opportunity to play, to get drafted, that was very devastating. I did get an opportunity to play with Buffalo. But, you know, when the head coach tell you that, hey, we got our quarterback, which was Jim Kelly, and I understood that. But I just kind of got tired of wrestling back and forth, and I just said, hey, I need to start doing something. And my brother Roger made me remember, hey, man, you got an education, hey, use your education and move on. Life still can be good outside of being in the National Football League.
Well, I tell you what, Coach, it's now time for us to take our final time out, but we'll return. We're going to talk about life after playing days, because as you touched on, you've gone into coaching and done quite well and beginning a new journey here in coaching. We're going to talk about that and much more with Coach Willie Satellite Totten. We'll be right back. And welcome back, everyone. The final part of our overtime segment tonight with Coach Willie Satellite Totten. Coach, you transitioned from player to coach, and you did it somewhat, I guess, seemingly smooth, coming back home to become the head coach at your alma mater. Before that, you were an assistant. I can remember that. But in terms of coaching, what led you into that profession? I guess it's something you said you always had in the back of your mind that eventually you would coach once your playing days were over?
Yeah, that's always was in my mind to coach, because coaching and playing the game is something that I enjoyed, and I did it all my life. So when I got into coaching, I knew that's what I really wanted to do once I got into it. But I really got a good start though. I started out with the late legendary coach Eddie Robinson. I went to grad school, and he invited me in with open arms to be a part of his staff, and I ended up coaching the quarterbacks. And he really said, "Hey, I want you to coach the quarterbacks." And I kind of got my feet wet then, and I knew we had a lot of success at Grambling. We won 2 championships at Grambling, and I knew right then coaching is what I wanted to do. So once I finished up with my degree, Coach Larry Dorsey hired me at Mississippi Valley, gave me my first full-time coaching job at Mississippi Valley as a running back coach. And then my coaching career just kind of took off from there.
Your proudest moment as a coach, as a player, in this journey that you've been on from day one to this point?
I guess one of the proudest moments as a coach is when I had the opportunity to go back to Mississippi Valley and be the head football coach. You know, I had coached nine years before 9 years at the college level. And I had the opportunity to go and do 2 years at the high school level at Eastside. And then when they called me back and I applied for the job, and when I got the job to be the head football coach, that was a proud moment for me to have played at Valley and had success as a player. And I wanted to come back and do the exact same thing as a coach. And bring that pride back to Mississippi Valley.
All right. And now you're getting ready to start a new chapter of your life down in Baton Rouge. Tell us a little about this new position that you've taken over and how excited you are about it.
Well, you know, whenever you get an opportunity to play at one of the top programs in our conference, that's always a great feeling. And Coach Eric Dooley gave me that opportunity. He called me and asked me, he said, "Coach," he said, "I have a quarterback position available. If you want the job, it's your job." You know, to have that respect from your colleagues around the league, didn't have to apply for the job. Didn't have to interview, rather, for the job. And he had that much respect for me from my game, from when I coached, and of my ability that he offered me the job. And to be in Baton Rouge is a great thing. I mean, you know, Southern has always been one of the top teams in our conference every year. And I see that being the same thing happening this year.
40 years you've been around football, 40 years plus. How much gas still left in the tank? Do you see an end coming soon, or are you going to keep this train running as long as you can, healthy and able?
Well, I think as long as I feel that I can contribute to the game. And as long as I feel that these young men, they're listening, they understand what I'm trying to explain to them, I think I'll coach until I feel I'll get tired. Right now I feel good. My health is in excellent shape. I run, I condition, play a lot of golf. But I still think that I have a lot to give back to these young men to help them to try to reach their goal. Whatever that goal may be, if it's in the National Football League, or if it's getting your education, going on, moving on, being successful in life, that's what I want to do.
All right. Well, Coach Totten, we appreciate the time so much. You being able to go back in time, your days, Jay-Z George, even before that, Greenwood, throughout Mississippi Valley State, pro career, and now coaching on the college level. We appreciate the time once again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Always
Thank you.
appreciate you.
Willie Satellite Totten here in the house here on Overtime, joining us and sharing some light on his life as he gets ready to begin a new part of his life as an assistant coach with the Southern Jaguars. We wish you well, Coach, in moving forward, and looking forward to maybe seeing, who knows, maybe a Valley Southern matchup someday in that championship game down the road. Willie Satellite Totten here on your Overtime. That's going to close out tonight's show. Thanks for tuning in, and enjoy the rest of your Sunday evening, and have a great week in the process. Good night, everyone.